Good day, everyone. We're here with Brianne Veale of Sault College Women's Hockey. How are you today, Brianne?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. First things first, so people know, what's your background in hockey?
So I'm born and raised in Sault Ste. Marie. I played boys hockey until grade 5, and then I moved over to the Sioux Female Association. During that time, I played for the Wildcats all the way through to midget. And then after that, I did 5 years at Brock University playing for the Brock Badgers.
And before we get a little bit into the Sault College hockey, why did you decide to make that jump from boys to girl women's hockey?
I mean, that's a question I think everyone asks. Through my academy, Northern Elite Female Hockey Academy, we do have that question come up. When is the right time to make the switch? Should you make the switch at all? For me personally, it came down to the social aspect. So I was no longer in the room with the guys. I was in my own dressing room. If there were other females on different teams, they were in the same dressing room as me. At that point, I was pushed back playing defense when I've always been a forward. So a lot of changes started to happen. And, you know, the game has grown a lot on the female side, but when I moved over, I actually was playing with girls much older than me, just because we didn't have the numbers or the same level of competition. But that is the time that I thought worked best for me. Could I have stayed a few extra years and maybe switched over, at the U15, U16 level? Yes, but it's a little bit different now than it was back when I was playing.
And to get into a little bit, first season as head coach with the Sault College Cougars women's hockey program, and you're going to nationals. Talk a little bit about this past season before we get into the nationals.
I mean, first things first, I don't think one coach is going to tell you that they have had an easy season this year. Playing during a pandemic, but also having a Canadian team that plays in a U.S. A U.S. league, that's a whole other ballgame. So we're tired. It's been a long season, but the girls have been amazing. They have been troopers with all of the schedule changes, all of the testing requirements, everything that's been going on. We've had a very short bench pretty much all year. Some of our games we're playing the top teams in our division with 14 players, and we're still competing. We're still winning games. We finished second in our division, which, as you mentioned, sends us to nationals. So, it's been a challenging year, but we have had so much growth as a team. We're having so much growth as a program because we are being noticed by people that are in grade 12 or even grade 11 that are interested in coming to Sault College to play, which is amazing.
Now, as a coach, and you probably refer back to your playing days, how did you keep everything positive during everything that was happening this past season?
Did I keep everything positive? I don't know. You know what? I honestly, I have to bring it back to my players because they just rolled with all of the punches, and our athletic department has been so accommodating, and they have worked so hard to make things run as smoothly as possible because it's not smooth in any way. But having their support has made it that much easier. It's made it easier for me to focus on the games and worry about that and not deal with the border and testing and all of those things that change every single day. But it has been a lot. I won't say it hasn't, but yeah, we're just trying to be as positive as possible from the very beginning. I have set out a goal to make it to nationals within the first 3 years. It's happening way quicker than I thought. But again, it goes down to the girls just being ready to play.
And talking about Sault College, I'm saying this is, I guess, second full season since the men been able to play and they went to nationals. What does it mean for Sault College to have the men cup the last year of real full hockey going to nationals and now women's going to nationals? What does that say about the programs at Sault College?
It is heading in the right direction. We are, both my staff and the men's staff are so driven to make these programs successful, and it's evident that what we're doing is working. Like I said, the athletic department is fully on board with all of the things that we are doing, and like I mentioned earlier, us having this success this year is just making it easier when it comes to recruitment, because we are being noticed. We already have committed to very high level players for next season. So that does make it's all working out well for us in that sense. When it comes to female hockey and girls that are local, next season might be the first time that they ever have to actually try out for a team. And the first time I ever tried out for a hockey team was when I went away to university at Brock. Before then, for the most part, if you were skilled enough, you were making it, there wasn't much competition because you were pretty much just, you had enough to have a team. So it's exciting. It's nerve-wracking for the girls, but that means that our program is going in the right direction. And I believe that the men's team would say the exact same thing.
And that's something, again, when the program started, it was something that was offered to give the men or women a few more years of competitive hockey. And I don't think Sault College, like say as a college and then as an athletic program, thought that it was going to be this big of success as fast, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, at first, like you said, it's a few more years of playing hockey. I know the women's program at one point was playing in the women's league here in Sault Ste. Marie. So we've completely changed our focus on how we're talking to recruits. And this is now, if you are interested in programs at the college level, which we see so many people are turning to college programs, whether it's because Sault College has the nursing program or aviation, fish and wildlife, the trades. We have players in all of those programs. They're college programs for them. And if you're wanting to continue playing hockey, we are where you are wanting to go, right? It is your number one choice because we're the only Canadian college other than Assiniboine. So we're the only one here in Ontario for you to play college hockey, very competitive hockey, and you're playing in the States. So you're getting to travel to Notre Dame and Michigan State and all of these amazing facilities. And you get those 4 years of eligibility.
And now talking about your team, getting to this point, what do you think worked to get you guys to this point and have this success so far this season?
Well, we only had 2 girls returning. So to say it was a rebuilding year, that's very accurate. All of them came with an open mind. I'm a brand new coach. This is my first year heading a team, working with my staff to understand what we all wanted to see when it came to the type of aggressive penalty kill and the type of power play we wanted, all of that kind of stuff. So once we determined what we wanted to see, we brought that to the team and they adapted it. And they were willing to, whatever we said, they were willing to try it. We were very honest with each other. If something wasn't working, they would let me know and we'd figure out a way to change it. I think that because of me being a female coach, me going through this similar to their experience, they were able to come to me with those questions or with their concerns, but they also had some options that we could try, which I think is very mature of them as well. So I think an open line of communication has really helped us. I won't say that's the only reason. Obviously, we have some great talent on our team that has helped us throughout the way. And we've also had girls that have stepped up when some of our more talented girls have been out with injuries. So it has been a full team effort. We've had D playing forward for numerous games. And so they're ready to step up whenever they need to.
And this question putting you on the spot, and I usually do with coaches, who surprised you this season from the start to the end?
Who surprised me?
Yeah.
Jasmine Grollo. And she knows I'm going to say that to her. When we first saw her, she wasn't a commitment, anything like that. She came in and we thought, yeah, this player looks like she goes hard in the corner. She's fighting for the puck. After our first exhibition game, I had to move her to the first line. She's unstoppable. She has gotten lots of points for us, both goals and assists, stays out of the penalty box as much as possible, which I love. And she is known, like she's said that in the past, that's what happens with coaches. So she starts off, on the third line and quickly moves up to the first line, and not saying that determines a lot, but she's definitely our go-to when it comes to penalty kill because of her aggressiveness, and she's just a great player to watch.
And something, not asking for any secrets for next week in St. Louis, but what do you guys need as a team to be successful and get victories in St. Louis at the ACHA DI Championships?
What I tell our team all the time is we know that we can compete with the top teams. We've played Lake State, who is ranked first in our division. We've played Assiniboine, that is in our pool next week, and they were first in their division. We've competed against these teams. If we play our game structurally how we are supposed to, we will do very well at nationals. That's the biggest thing. Not taking any team lightly. So especially our first two games, we might be ranked higher, but I mean, this is playoff hockey. So
Exactly.
You never know what's going to happen. And I hope all of their cold games are behind them because they need to come out hot all week.
And it's something you played the youth sport, the OUA level with Brock, the Badgers, and ACHA. And I know for a fact when it comes to the men's programs, the ACHA is looked down upon when it comes to hockey players and a lot of coaches. As a female coach and a female player, can you compare OUA hockey compared to the ACHA hockey?
Well, I think that the ACHA is growing, and I think that's very important to note because a lot of players are now looking at ACHA, whether it's because, like us, for example, they're able to stay in Canada, but play in a states league and visit all of these amazing stadiums and play teams that they could have never dreamed about playing. But I think that you're only going to see more people start talking about ACHA and doing that route instead of just focusing on NCAA and U Sport levels. The competition is continuing to grow, and so I do see a lot of people starting to make that shift. But I do think that we need a few more years of people seeing how competitive it is before they can fully, kind of move their focus over to ACHA.
And I noticed, like you say, being with sports, is the notice of the commitments that you're getting. Before, like you said, is you're getting enough players to make a team. Now it's recruits. You're recruiting. Is it making it a lot easier in your job now that, like you say, getting more successful?
Yes and no, because those are hard conversations that I have to make at tryouts. But it just shows that what we are doing is working. It's so rewarding for us to sign, again, the top players at the U18 AA level. And we're their first choice in a lot of these cases. So I can definitely say that we have not experienced this many people being interested in our program in the past. So it makes it easy for us to get our numbers up. However, there's only so many spots available on a team. So it will be a lot of hard work in the off season for everyone that is currently on the team. But I do think that this only helps grow, and you'll see us at nationals again next year.
And that's something I use for when it comes to commitments. I use Sault College has aviation where most schools don't have aviation.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to the female and women's program, they could go to almost any school in Ontario if they want to go to almost any of those programs. But it's showing that they're coming here, again, education first, but hockey second, and then they really want to continue playing hockey, right?
Yeah, and honestly, Sault College, I mean, now with their 4-year nursing program, the Bachelor of Science in Nursing being within Sault College. Like you said, aviation, the trades is continuing to become a big one for females, which is amazing. And our 2+2 program. So 2 years at Sault College, 2 years at Algoma. They're able to graduate with a degree and they're able to play with us for those 4 years.
And now, can we talk a little bit about the Northern Elite Female Academy, what that is
Sure.
and what you do there?
Yeah, so actually when I was playing at Brock, I helped out a lot with the summer camps that Brock ran. And I enjoyed it. I did a Bachelor of Education. So I went to school for teaching. I enjoyed being around players. And so I would always tell people when they were interested in going to a female camp in Sault Ste. Marie, I would tell them about camps I went to down south. I'd be like, oh, there was a great camp here that I used to go to all the time. And finally a parent said, why don't you just start something? And I said, well, you know what? I could, because I've had experience in it. So I actually started it when I was going into my last year at Brock. I continued throughout when I was an intern with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and my position was working on their skill development programs for youth. So I was gaining even more experience. And now it's blowing up and it's so amazing. In the summer, I had over 80 girls throughout the week. We had 3 different divisions. I do all levels, all skills, all ages and all skill levels. And it is a great way for female athletes, whether they are currently playing in the boys league or the girls league, they are able to connect with female athletes at this camp. My staff are fully qualified female trainers and coaches. So all you see is female role models, and both the players and the parents love that. We have mentors that are there for these young girls, and then you see them throughout the year and they're running up to you at the rink and telling you about how many goals they got or how they love hockey and they've made friends with girls at the camp. And, it's been such a rewarding business that I have. And I actually have girls that I've trained for years playing on Sault College now, which is amazing. I also train girls that are on different ACHA teams, which is great up until the point when we're playing them.
Yeah.
But it's been very successful, and I only hope that it continues to grow and that I can continue including younger instructors so that they have the opportunity to continue growing the game.
And that's with the academy, and I'm comparing it to Algoma with EJ Baller's 18 Jaquette, who's the men's coach at basketball at Algoma. He has EJ Baller similar to yours, and he's hoping eventually to find a few diamonds in the rough that he eventually can move into his program, right?
Absolutely. And it's a great way for me to, see where athletes are at each stage, right? So as a player, I know what I needed and what could have really helped me to develop even more when I went to university. But now I can see it at every age and where they should be or where I want them to be by their next season, and then when they're going away to university. And I've even gone so far as help them on the recruiting side of things. So I work with girls. I let them know these are things that you should be talking to with either the scout or the head coach of the school that you're interested in. So I try to be there for them throughout the entire process, because it is different. It's different than, a male playing junior A or with the Thunderbirds and all of that kind of stuff. So they need that support, and the parents really appreciate it, because they could have 3 kids and 2 of which were boys who went that route, and now they don't know what to do with their daughter. So it is very different, but I'm happy that I can be there to support them throughout that process.
And we'll use as an example, we'll use the Hedrick family. We all know the Hedrick family in Sault Ste. Marie.
Yes.
But the boys play hockey, they play at a red level. But you usually don't have 2 girls. And again, they're not playing for Sault College, but 2 girls who have played at the OUA level and one NCAA next year. Yeah. So it helps. Now, the question I have, and this one's putting you on the spot again, is we have girls moving to Southern Ontario to play hockey. Mm-hmm. Now, is it just because we don't really have a league in the north that they're thinking they're getting more exposure down there, or is there a reason for that, you think?
That is such a difficult question. I get asked that all the time. What I go back to is when I was in grade 5, I was playing with girls that were 3-4 years older than me and traveling. And my parents were eating breakfast, and Don Cherry was there at the table next to them. And my parents asked him, what should we do with our daughter? She's playing with girls older than her. And, there aren't many girls playing hockey right now. And we know that this is a dream of hers, to go and play at university. Do we have to move her? Like, what do you advise us to do if you were able to tell a parent? And he said that talent will always be found.
Yeah.
If you're talented enough, you will be found. Now, I'm not saying that there are very talented players that we have locally that unfortunately haven't cracked the U Sport system or the NCAA system. Absolutely. There are people that, and someone like Colin Miller is a perfect example of this, right? High school hockey, and then everyone starts saying, who is this guy? And now he's in the NHL. And
anything he's played, he's touched the gold, right?
Like, it's just, so you have players like that. So it is hard. I know players that are currently away. They are doing very good. Does that mean that they are 100% guaranteed to get a U Sport or an NCAA offer? Absolutely not. Is it hard for you to move your life in high school? I know that the guys do it all the time, but for females, this is brand new to them. And it is a struggle. And I do know that they are having a hard time with that transition. So for me personally, if you're interested in doing that, that's great. If you find that the coach might align better with what your daughter is wanting in a head coach, or the type of tournaments they go to, or the type of help that they give you in recruiting, then absolutely. But I also know that there is a lot of success that comes out of Sault Ste. Marie. It has for years. Even my assistant coaches, Jess Fabro played D3 at Adrian College, and Shannon Clement played D1 at the University of New Hampshire. So it is possible, but it does come down to what the family thinks is best for them, and, the financial aspect of it. And yeah, so I don't know if I answered your question, but I feel like there would be a target on my back if I went one way or the other.
and as another example, it shows how strong the program is at Sault College, but also we'll use Greg Brazo's team that you guys, the Sault Junior Greyhound U18, you guys play them, and the games aren't blowouts.
Yeah.
So it shows that the women's programs in Sault Ste. Marie are competing at that level, because when you're stepping up and playing a team that's going to nationals, it shows that we do have a lot of talent in Sault Ste. Marie, right?
Absolutely. And I was so happy for us we have 3 that we've committed to on that team already. And I'm very excited because they are top players in that program. So I do hope that we continue to have that relationship with Sioux Female, also Sudbury and Thunder Bay, North Bay. So really touching on the northern communities. But then we also have teams like Belleville that we have 2 that we have signed for next year. So making just connections all throughout Ontario. But we do have the competition here in Sault Ste. Marie, and it doesn't change based on what age they get to. It's just whether or not the team is going to have enough talent in order to compete, right? So if you have 5 girls that are top players, that is going to be very difficult when you go down to Southern Ontario. But if you're able to get higher numbers, then you're right with them.
And when it comes to recruiting, I always say goalies have a different mental mentality anyways. But when it comes to women's hockey, is it even harder to recruit and find women goalies to play?
Yeah, goalies are always the tough one. I think with recruiting in general, you're having a lot of conversations about not only the hockey program and, like we're talking about, how different the program is and where we see it in the next few years, but they do focus on academics a lot. And I knew that as a player as well. I was going somewhere that my program was going to be, and hockey was secondary, even though, it's my entire life.
Yep.
I find that there's just less to choose from when it comes to goalies. So we are branching out into the States as well, so that we're just getting as much interest as possible and making sure that we have the high caliber players.
And I don't know if it's changed at Sault College over the last couple of years, but when it comes to players out of the United States, so that parents do know, are when it comes to the hockey programs, are they international students or are they domestic students?
You're catching me off guard there. I don't really know, if I'm being honest.
That's something we have to talk to Paul about.
Yeah. But we do have interest, again, depending on the program. Depending, some players, they have a parent that is actually from Canada, so looking to transition back over to Canada from the States. So there are a lot of different cases that we see, but don't quote me on that one.
Now, what have you taken from your playing days and brought it into the coaching?
I think the biggest thing I recognized when I was in Sault Ste. Marie, sorry, my work phone.
No problem.
When I was in Sault Ste. Marie, I was always a high level player. I was always the go-to person to be on for power play, penalty kill, breakaway, or shootouts, anything like that. When you make the transition to university hockey or our girls here at the college level, a lot can change, and it can be a big thing mentally on you because you aren't necessarily the all-star anymore, because we have a full team of all-stars. So I really focus on the mental side of things with them and prepping for each individual game. And you know what? You missed 3 breakaways there. Let's focus on the next one that you're going to score. I can't speak for men and their play, but I do know that women are very hard on themselves. And so, I mean, I'm the first one to yell at them when they did something wrong, but then I'm going to tell them, this is what we want to try next. And let's just leave that one on the ice and focus on the next shift. I think that they do like the criticism. They don't mind when I get mad at them because they know that they deserve it. But they need a solution. They need something that can help them to get better. And they are always willing to get better, but you need to be showing them what they can do. And growing up, I didn't always have that, right? Because of the position that I was in here, I didn't have to worry about really trying out for a team because I knew that I was going to be on it. So Brock was a really big eye opener for me, and just realizing that I understand where all of the girls are coming from, I think is really helpful for them.
Now, as a coach, like you say, first year coach, what's it going to be like when you step off that bus in St. Louis with that national badge around your neck, getting ready for playing at nationals?
I'm happy I'm not on the ice because I am so nervous. I actually haven't been to anything like this before. None of our team has. So I think our captain is probably the closest. She won a provincial championship in the OWHA. So that's the closest that anyone has been to anything like this. And this is, this is huge. So I'm trying to not show my nerves as much for the girls' sake. But I told them, and the college has as well, we got to this point. We are so excited about it. Enjoy the experience. Yes, obviously our goal is to win it all, but we are there to just take it all in and be rewarded for our hard work this season.
And going off of that, when you walk in the dressing room before that first game, what's part of your first speech going to be?
Don't worry. I saw this, Coach K from Duke. Don't worry about losing, focus on winning. And I think that it's going to be stressful either way. Don't worry about, what the scoreboard is or anything like that. Just keep focusing on you getting a goal and working as a team, playing our game.
And we know as players, you want to win. But to me, I go back, it's the 3-letter word is fun, right? Make sure you still have some fun no matter what happens, right?
Absolutely. And our girls are so excited about, again, just experiencing it and being there. And as a coach, I am so happy that we're able to be there this year, because with a number of returning players next year, they're just that much more experienced come next season. And the nerves they will be there, but not as much when we're at nationals next year. So take it all in, feel all of the feels, and then be ready to play.
And for people who don't know, Sault Ste. Marie, we have Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. And over the last, I'd probably say 5 or 6 years with the men's and women's program, and Lake State now having the women's program back, surely creating a rivalry between the two schools, right?
Oh, Jay, it's a rivalry for sure.
And not interrupt. I know the the girls' coach over there, Matt. So I hear his side of it too, and that's what I hear.
Yeah, and you know what? Every team should have one. So I'm very happy about it. Like I said earlier, there's girls that I've trained that are on that team. So sometimes the girls on our team get a little bit mad at me when they're scoring a lot of the goals. But you want that competition. So I'm really happy that we have it. I'm happy that it's directly across the border from us. And yeah, it'll be pretty cool to see both of us in the finals next weekend.
Now, I use hopefully next year, or say next season, is back to normal. Will we see more Sault College games back on our side?
Yeah, that will be really important for us. I think us finally having games in our hometown, especially for whether it's recruitment and having people come to Sault Ste. Marie and watching games, or for locals to watch. So if all goes well, we should see our home games here next season. But that's kind of one of the things you have to deal with when you're a Canadian playing in an American league.
I know what that's like. And now, last thing we didn't really bring it up, is who's on your coaching staff and mention them.
Yeah, so I mentioned Shannon Clement as well as Jessica Fabro, and then I also have Bronson Kovacs. So he just came from Hungary right before joining our staff, which is awesome. And then we have Bill Vanderleest. He is our goalie coach. And so he's been really good with our two goalies, especially because they come from not having as much training in the past. So that's our staff. And then we have Rick Webb as our manager.
So last thing I always ask is who would you like to thank and anything like that?
Oh, man, everyone. Everyone's been a part of this year. And especially as a brand new coach, I really didn't know what to expect. It's one thing to play the game your whole life, but to coach it is very different. So first off, our athletic department and the college as a whole, because we're actually having a season this year, and to work with a department that is so accommodating and wants you to succeed is amazing, because it's not always the case. And I tell everyone that we talk to, parents and recruits that we are talking to, I say that I can stand behind our athletic department and school 100%, which is amazing. Obviously, the girls have been great. Part of me doesn't want the season to end because we have enjoyed it so much. And so it is going to be sad when it's over because of the friendships that have been made, and our staff for just rolling with the punches all season, whether they're able to make it across the border or not, they're finding a way to stay involved, which has been really good.
And the last thing, and again, I'm not asking for dollar value or anything like that, but for a girl to play, or a female to play women's ACHA hockey Sault College, is there a cost in that for them to play?
$400
for post-secondary hockey. You can't
post-secondary school. That's going to take care of anything you need to wear on the ice, like our blue helmets, your socks, your jerseys, your pant shells, everything off the ice, your full tracksuit, your hockey bag, sweater, apparel, the whole works. So and that's not even taking into account any scholarship money that you might come into receiving when it comes to academics. So especially when we're talking to players that are playing in the rep system here in Sault Ste. Marie, they're going to save money next year paying for their kids, or I shouldn't say kids because they're young adults now, paying for their full schooling and hockey. They're coming out making some money.
Well, and that's exactly, I go back from when I was involved with the Sault College program. There's many, many thousands of dollars of academic scholarships that don't get picked up or applied for. And
student job opportunities. I just sent our girls
exactly.
some opportunities that are there this summer, and great money for you to make for the summer. So yeah, we're always sending them those opportunities that they have available to them. And I try to get our girls working in the community to up their volunteer and work experience so that they do have a strong resume at this time.
Will we see some female, like say, volunteers at the hockey academy this summer?
Absolutely. Yeah, I have to make sure that they're getting on the ice, and some of them actually did it last summer as well. So yeah, I want to continue, not just making it something that there's Sault College athletes there. I also have girls from Lake State that are part of my instructor group. So I just think it's great to continue showing younger athletes that are now in the role of an instructor.
And that's where I go back. Females can sometimes put aside Lake State, Sault College, and get together and help instruct the girls, right?
In the off season.
In the off season, exactly. Well, Brianne, I can't thank you enough for taking the time, and good luck next week in St. Louis.
Thank you so much.